Goten and Trunks are now babies again, and I said when this trailer for the new show came out that it was kind of funny, but now I'm just thinking more about how sad this is, even if this baby thing is a temporary thing, but it just reveals even more how each new storyline basically ignores Goten and Trunks. I think we've seen more of Hercule post Z so far than them, and that's crazy, and it just kind of really makes me feel like post Z is kind of my least favorite era in Dragon Ball, which is crazy because there's a lot of hype to it every time something comes out, but that's because we want to be hyped, we want things to be good, but it's like, what's going on? One thing that makes Dragon Ball Z's story so enjoyable for me growing up was that it didn't just feel like I was growing up, but the show was growing up too, and the story would adjust and move with that. The most obvious example is Gohan. I remember seeing him as practically a baby who was just massively scared because his alien uncle with a monkey tail kidnapped him, then a green alien kidnapped him because his father died, and we saw this boy look slightly more developed in every single arc of Dragon Ball. And even though Goku was the main character and he's the one who saves the day in the end, Gohan still grew in multiple ways. The story is supposed to move on. Dragon Ball is different than Dragon Ball Z because Dragon Ball Z progressed from it. Goku, the main character in Z, acknowledges things aren't supposed to stay the same and are supposed to move on with how the characters are growing, and that's why he gives Goten and Trunks attention for the plot to move forward, not ignoring these characters who are just starting to develop. But Dragon Ball Super doesn't really progress from Z. It immediately started with Goten and Trunks looking the wrong age, since they are the same age as Gohan was at the end of the Cell Saga, yet for some reason they kept looking younger than they were in the Buu arc. And then in Dragon Ball Super Superhero, they finally decided to age them up because it really wouldn't have made sense for them to still look 7 and 8 years old. And then they give us the excuse that Saiyans just stay small, but then again, Gohan literally had that recessive gene. He had the Saiyan genes with the tail and all that stuff, and that didn't happen with him. It was basically just an excuse for them to keep making them look young, and yeah. And now with Dragon Ball Daima, even the Super manga, it seems we're just focused on not really progressing with characters, and when they notice this, it seems the proposed solution is to now give people new forms, but character-specific forms like Ultra Ego Vegeta or Gohan Beast, and sure, that gets us hype in the moment, but then in the long run, we realize that's actually kind of boring. And man, when they actually realize Goten and Trunks need even more development besides being just taller, they're probably going to give them a form, and it'll probably just be a Gotenks form. It's like, oh my gosh, they got a new form. Isn't that cool? Don't you guys, didn't we fix everything now? But Goten and Trunks pretty much are the characters that we should have seen grow and get development, but instead, well, they just keep getting less development now, even physically, since they literally went back to babies. And this is canonical. There are people online who think this isn't canon, but no, it is. Dragon Ball Daima is the new show in this anime series, and it is in continuity with the main story, unlike things like Dragon Ball Heroes that are obviously not. And even though GT was featured in the Daima trailer, it doesn't change things. GT was there because, well, it was one of the main Dragon Ball anime shows released and was considered canon until Super arrived like 2 decades later and pushed it out of being canon. But that's just what I think anyway about Goten and Trunks and all of that, although it looks like a lot of other people are thinking this too, so yeah.